Hello and welcome back to the Custom Garage Build Series. Today we're at a friend's shop. We've got a very interesting piece of equipment to demonstrate here today and to show off. I don't even know how to describe it. I'm gonna lower this camera down and show you what it is. Right here we've got the latest and greatest. I'm gonna start at the top. Car liner. This is their newest resistance welder. It's called a CTR9, and I am just blown away because I've been using these welders since 2001, and the innovation that has gone into these machines over the years has been slow and painful. But I have to say that car liner, their last model impressed me, and this model is even more impressive because they've even added more updates to it that have just done nothing but enhance the ability to get through your jobs quickly and not have to fight with the machine and fight with the gun and just wear yourself out trying to hold this thing up and doing your weldings. First off, I'll point out this boom right here is telescopic. I'm gonna take this power cord down. I have to take the gun off to let this come up. What this does is it telescopes out. So no matter where you're at on your job, if you're trying to reach inside of a tail panel, putting a floor in, or next we're going to be doing a dually bedside, you can extend yourself over and get yourself exactly where you need to be, and then you can lock it in place. Or you can leave it float by itself. I think, pretty sure you can. This will float in and out by itself. That's the link, and it locks, or does it? It'll travel with you, with the gun. So you're not fighting the gun versus this unit right here. Lo and behold, it's got a safety on it. When you push this, it releases the lock ring that holds this pin in there. So you don't mistakenly, it doesn't vibrate out of there. So at this point, you can take the telescope, the arm, this whole mechanism up and down. I think the reason it's not doing it is because I got the gun hanging on it. Let me disconnect the gun. We're not doing very good with that, are we? All right, we're gonna come back to this. I'm new to this machine, this part of it, and I'm guessing that I'm not doing something right. But anyway, so this will elevate at any height you need it. So there's two more settings from this height right now, which is pretty tall. So let's say you had to do a van roof or something like that, where you needed to elevate this all the way up. So you'd still be able to use the recoiler and your gun would go high enough to reach the roof. So that's kind of neat. We'll bring this back down. This is a new machine, so this stuff is a little bit stiff, not bad. You hold the safety button in to get the pin in there. Very nice. This is a 360 swivel here. Point out at the top here. So this arm can swing no matter where the machine's setting, which the way the bottom is configured, you can roll it right up to the car. But if you want to leave it setting parallel to the side of the car, the vehicle, you can still swing this arm out and over to where you need to work. Again, just another great feature. Another thing that they've done that blew me away was we've always had a problem with these arms because they're metal, and as soon as this metal, if you were in a tight spot and you touched this arm against the metal and you pull the trigger to weld, you'll get a weld here, but you're gonna burn a big hole wherever that arm is touching the body. Now, I'm talking, you're gonna be filling a hole sometimes as big as a 1/2 inch in diameter. They put insulators on all their arms. Amazing. Comes with a full kit, obviously with all the tips and stuff. You've got your different length. There's 3 different lengths of electrodes, I guess you'd call them, depending on which arm you're using and how far you have to travel. Obviously, the bigger arms take the shorter tubes here because the tip is longer on the arm itself. And these tips do have to be cleaned from time to time and replaced at different times. They just take a pair of pliers, give them a twist, they come right off. Very unique. This is the control panel, very simple. I've got it plugged in right now. It's not calibrated. Right now we have a tip on here that is used for going behind panels or doing like wheel wells. Right here, they turn this into a ball instead of a flat tip, which means you can be into something on an angle, on a bad angle, because that's the only way you can get in there, and hit it, and it'll still weld because it's working off of that ball end right there. These are water cooled. There's coolant in the bottom of this, and antifreeze. It keeps the machine cool, as well as air pressure that is used to create the pressure for the weld. Now right now, it's in a calibration mode. So when I pull the trigger, it went ahead, it calibrated itself. Now it's in a weld mode. It tells me which arm I have on here, which tip I have on here, a couple different things in here, but it's all automatic. If I go into this truck behind me here, and I start off with 2 thicknesses of metal, and somewhere along the way there's a brace that I get to that has more thickness and a 3rd layer of metal, this machine will automatically account for that and weld it just as well as it did 2 thicknesses of metal. The way this thing upgrades, they tell me, is you got a thumb drive, and you plug the thumb drive into Car-O-Liner's, go into their site and plug your thumb drive into their program and update to the thumb drive. Then you bring the thumb drive over and you plug it into the machine, and it automatically creates the updates. At this point, it's basically ready to go over there and weld. The only things you have to have is you have to have the top surface you're welding on and the surface underneath it that it's making contact with clean. The surfaces in between can be E-coated. They can be weld-through primer. I'm not a fan of it, but everybody uses it. I like just plain E-coat because this thing is not going to burn everything up. It's going to make a small little weld just like the factory did. Very easy to prep and paint. Takes away all the agony of a plug weld, grinding it, backfilling it, you know, trying to make it look pretty after you've destroyed it. A panel like this could take somewhere probably between an hour, hour and a half. If I was plug welding it, I'm going to be here for 3 or 4 hours or more. With all the prep work, I got to punch the holes in the panel, I got to clean them, I got to get up there, I got to fit it, make sure that, well, again, you'd mark your holes where you want your holes ahead of time. So you probably end up sometimes taking the panel back off. I've been there before. This panel's gone on one time and it's staying. I'm welding it. I've gone ahead and marked where every previous weld was with a marker. If you can see in here, these purple marks. Now those purple marks, each one of them is where I need to grab this and weld. I'm not sure I cleaned the back of this yet. I might not have done this one. I'm all prepped on the inside up here. Another thing I did up here is I didn't want to mark on the liner because that marker might not come off. But if you look up here, you can see where I've got green tape and I got purple marks on it. And what I do is I put a straight line for a weld that's going on this surface, and I do a plus for the weld that's going on top, because they weld it in 2 different locations on a bedside. And I just string that down the side. When I'm done, I pull the tape and I'm done with it. There's no cleanup. Probably the cleanest way you can do it that I can think of. If anybody else got a better idea, they can put it in the comments below. I'm open to all of it. One other thing that I might want to point out here, I just spotted, is this thing between the power cord and the cord that goes to the gun. You can reach from the wall outlet 45 feet. So for us here, we only had enough power to put 1 outlet in the shop, the owner. So this was perfect because now we can get to the other side of the shop if need be and weld without having to move a bunch of cars around. As normally on a cheap or Prospot, all your electronics is in the machine, in the base of the unit. So they can't make this long of a cable. What allowed them to do this long of a cable is they only have like 3 power cords coming through there to the gun. All the electronics is in the head, not in the machine. So what that does is that allows them to make a midstream, basically an extension cord from the machine to give you more ability to reach inside cars, reach from the front to the back of the car. I could leave that machine at the back of the car and there's enough power line right there to get me to the front of the car and weld if I needed to. Right here, water flow off. There's actually a button over here which you can hit so the machine stays on. You don't have to unplug anything, and you can shut off the water pump and change your arms quickly and just hit the button for the water flow again, and away you go on your weld. I just want to show real quick how easy, basically easy it is to change these arms. So I already disconnected the 2 water lines, so just quick connects. This comes off. I'm gonna go to this arm here, slides in there like so, locks down. You pop each hose, self-explanatory, back into the unit. A little stiff. It's brand new. Here's that one. Collar's a little bit stiff. And you just pull on to make sure that the collar will pop back up. And then you can see we've already changed out our head. We're ready to go again. Back over and hit the button. Okay, now we got to recalibrate. Oh, almost made a mistake. We're running with a different end. These have to line up, obviously. This offset is designed just for this head. This is what feeds the water through the tube into the tip to keep it cool. It's always important, you have to make sure the tapered end goes into the tube first. This is set up on an O-ring, so it honestly doesn't take a whole lot of pressure to, let's see. Yeah, okay, I was wrong on this. So this one has its own, I think it pivots. The looks of that, it just keeps going around and around, doesn't tighten. So what that's designed for, just to line it up. There's where it breaks apart. You can pretty much tell how much distance you should have. Again, checking the tube. We've already demoed this one, so you can tell it's been used a little bit. So, coming tight. And all you want to do is just snug it with a wrench. Just ever so slightly. That's all we need. So, now, turn the water back on. Get our calibration. Calibration. Okay. I left the machine. Everything's unlocked, so I can move this easier. It's a little bit used to the lights up on the screen. It says insulation. There's a button on the top here that resets it, and this lights up red out. Okay. Yeah. More. I'll say this, sometimes these machines, after so many welds, they'll make you recalibrate. It's just how it is. I didn't know what that was. We got green lights again. There we go. You got to look down at the screen on the machine to see the calibration. All this showed was a wrench blinking. We'll have to change up the tip. That's it for the top. I'm going to pause the video. It's getting kind of lengthy, and we'll come back after we're welded it up and kind of do an overview of all the welds and let you see how that looked. But you get a pretty good idea of what we're doing here. Okay, we're back, and I just wanted to point out a few of these welds close up. You can kind of see what a beautiful weld that leaves. And then we'll just kind of go over that with a little fiber pad. And this gets covered with a pad anyway, so we'd have to be real particular on how we clean those welds. I come around the front here. I actually got a couple more here to finish up, which we'll get. Then we did the whole front line here, all the way to the bottom. We'll get all along the bottom here. There are a few areas we will not be able to get. One of them is right in here. There's a different arm that comes down like this and would allow us to get inside there. We don't have that arm. Something we'll have to, he'll have to order it. We came all down the taillight pocket. We tied in this bottom brace. We do have about 5 or 6 welds here we're going to have to probably plug weld, and we've got a couple up in here that we're not going to be able to get to. The wheel well, got to all that perfectly. You can see the welds, real nice. A couple things I didn't mention earlier on this gun was this right here. You can actually take and squeeze these, and you can rotate your handle wherever you need it. Besides the fact that this pivots 360, and then in taking the arms off, I didn't point out this. There's a little pin on the side, so if you're underneath and you're in a tight spot, sometimes you have to release the arm here, obviously, here, and you want to bring it back to get around the corner of something like that. So you bring that back. Well, you won't lose the arm because they put this pin right here. Let me grab this. They put that pin in there, which locks into that slot right there, which is really good. See, and the pin locks in an open or a closed position. You can turn it like this and it'll lock there. So then you can just take your arm, drop it in, spin this till it locks in, lock your arm here, go ahead and push your 2 hoses in for the cooling, and calibrate, and you're ready to go. It's that simple. So again, great machine. I've showed here how we rolled up the cord. We've got a cover coming. Just, you know, amazing time saver, and just being able to do the job correctly is just, it's where we need to be. Be safe, make the cars safe. So thanks again for watching. I hope you subscribe. I hope you enjoyed what we showed you today. Hit the bell notification. Hit the thumbs up if you would, if you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for more. We'll be back with something going on in the garage real soon. Thanks again. Bye.